right, welcome to the December school board meeting. It's our organizational meeting. So tonight we will be welcoming 3 new members, and then we will be also electing president for the year and vice president for the year, and then there's some other business items on the agenda for this evening also. So first thing is Pledge of Allegiance, so if everybody could stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. First thing on the agenda is I am appointing Mrs. Armstrong as the temporary president of the board, and she will handle announcing who was elected and secretary's report, swearing in our new members, and then handling the election of the president.
Okay, Mr. Linderman, do you want to give the secretary's report for the election results?
Sure. In results of the election from November 7th, in Region 1, Amy Chang and Samantha Zhuang. In Region 2, Dave Barrett, and in Region 3, Brian Pollock. I'll have it right before the end of.
I believe the new board members need to come up around the flag here. All right. You get to say this all together. All right. You're good. This is the oath of office for school director as prescribed by Section 321, Act of 1949, PL 30, known as the Public School Code of 1949, as amended by Act Number 331 of November 22nd of 1968. I state your name.
I, Samantha Zhuang,
Having been elected to the office of school director for the school district of Great Valley,
having been elected to the office of school director for the school district of
Great Valley, County of Chester and State of Pennsylvania,
County of Chester and State of Pennsylvania,
do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
do solemnly swear that I will support,
Obey and defend.
the Constitution of the United States of America
And the Constitution of this Commonwealth.
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
And that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
That's it. Welcome to the board. Have a seat. Amy, you're over there. You're over there. Amy, you're right there. All right. All the nights to forget my computer. All right. And now we will have the election of officers for the 2017-2018 beginning this evening. So I would like to open up the election of officers with the election of president. Do I have a nomination?
I'd like to nominate Dave Barrett for president, please.
Do I have a second?
Second?
And now I have a nomination and a second. Is there any discussion? No discussion.
I think it's important to have discussion. So I think, Dave, you've done a great job over the last year. There have been times when we've disagreed and times when we haven't. But I appreciate you volunteering for this. It is not easy, especially when we're about to embark in another contract negotiation. I would very much look forward to having the same captain for at least the next year. So I'm hoping that you will accept the nomination and we can vote on it.
All right. Any other discussion?
So I seconded the nomination because you've been president for quite some time. And through your leadership, we've come a long way in the 6 years that I've been here. I think the district and the children have made great strides, and I'm really happy to be able to second that nomination. So I hope that you accept it.
I accept.
Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by raising your hand. All right, looks like we are 9-0 in favor, and Dave, I am passing this back over to you.
All right, well, first off, thank you very much. I appreciate the honor again, and look forward to having a very productive year, especially with 3 new board members. It'll be a lot of fun, and I'm sure very different, because we haven't had new board members in 6 years, so this is exciting, so great opportunity. All right, so the next position we have to elect is the vice president, so I'll open that up for nomination for vice president.
I would like to nominate Ellen Burrell for.
I'd like to second that.
All right, I have a motion and a second. I will now open it up for discussion.
I'm going to talk again. So Ellen and I don't always agree. In fact, we often disagree. However, one thing I do respect about her, when we are in the boardroom, I often feel like she explains what she's thinking, especially when she's voting, and that's very important to me, that I learn from board members, know where they're coming from, have an idea of why they're making the decisions that they're making. So even though I disagree, I appreciate that you do that. So thank you.
Yeah, and I know from my standpoint, I'm happy to nominate Ellen. Her passion for Great Valley is pretty well known. And I think that she will make a good addition as vice president.
And should you be elected, I look forward to working with her as vice president. So I won't jump to any conclusions yet. Motion passes 9-0. Congratulations. All right. All right, next thing on the agenda is appointment of committee members to various different committees. I sent out an email the other day kind of highlighting some of the opportunities that exist to the different board positions. Some are committees, some are just appointments. So we'll just start at the top. First, policy committee. Stephanie, you've been leading that for a year or two now, and in my opinion, because I sat on the committee, doing a great job, so hopefully you'll consider accepting the chairman again of that committee.
I'd love to do it again.
Thank you. All right, Jen and I were on it before. I have no intentions to sit on it again if there's others who would rather sit on it, so is there anybody interested in being on the policy committee?
And just as a preview of what it is, we meet and review a block of policies, usually about 10 policies. We consult with lawyers as well. And the idea is to update all the policies that we have. And then if there are policies that we get notice that need to be updated quicker due to a change in law, we obviously deal with those. So there's an order to the madness.
And Steph does a great job working with Dan Gaffredo to do a lot of the preliminary work with the attorneys. So it's a great committee for setting the policy and direction of the organization, so.
And Dave, can I, let me just add that, that we have a policy committee has made it a lot easier for us as board members to understand what a policy is, what they are, and how we're supposed to live by them. So, you know, we need 3 committee members on each, so the chair and 2 other committee members on each committee. This policy committee is an extremely valuable committee. Steph, don't we still do this committee? We break down the time, like when it's convenient to all members, or can you go over that?
Well, all the committees, just to summarize real quick, other than the finance committee, which we'll do on, typically on Monday evening. But the other 3 committees will be at the convenience of the board members that are on that committee and the administrators to make sure. So if it makes sense, like we were meeting in the policy committee before at 7:30 in the morning, but that doesn't mean it has to stay there. It could be moved to noon, it could be moved to 4 o'clock, it could be moved to 7:30 in the evening. There's nothing that dictates when, so. And if nobody wants to volunteer for the policy committee now, we can come back, because I know there may be other committees that people are interested in, and there may not be room for everybody on the committees. We can do that too, so. So why don't we circle back? So the finance committee is a committee of the whole board. And like I described a minute ago, it's typically Monday evenings. We usually have three, roughly 3, 4, depends what needs to be done with the budget, but generally 3 meetings in the spring, winter and spring, on a Monday evening, just to dive deeper into the finances of the budget. In the past, our treasurer has headed that committee, and so I guess I'd ask Phil to lead that again, and his responsibilities will be to take all of our questions, work a little more in depth with Chuck, and dive into things a little more in-depthly, and making sure that when we have the committee meetings, we'll be answering those questions. So that'll be all of us on that committee. It's important, we learned years ago that it's important that all 9 of us understand what's going on in the finance world of different aspects of the district, so. The facilities committee, that one is in charge of basically coming up with our capital plan for the school district as far as expenditures related to anything to do with the facilities. It could be a new roof, it could be a new building down the road, it could be anything in between, including IT infrastructure. Jen has headed that up in the past, so I'd like to ask if she'd like to chair that again.
Absolutely. I would like
All
to
right.
chair that again.
So we'd be looking for 2 more board members. The time commitment's probably going to be 1 per month throughout the school year, roughly. Some of those may get canceled depending on what's needed, but that's the general timeline right now, so.
I would like to be part of that committee.
All right,
Dave, I would as well.
all right. There's 3 right there. Perfect. All righty, Instructional Technology Committee. So this is a new committee, and I'll let the superintendent describe her vision of it, because she's the one that thinks this is how to shape it, so.
What has happened under the Finance Committee, as we've talked, those meetings happen 3 to 4 times a year. They're the committee of the whole. And they end up, a lot of time is spent on multiple line items of need, dealing with large building projects as well as purchases. Right now, we have the one-to-one, but the one-to-one is actually going to be, once we get all of the devices purchased and the integration system into Canvas, the learning management system, it's how we're integrating our technology into curriculum and making those curricular decisions. So this committee would work in concert with the teaching and learning, with Dr. O'Toole and his team, and also talking about how we're connecting the dots. So meeting monthly to discuss what are the curricular integration points, how are we not only making the purchases, but maximizing the return on the investment of the curricular initiatives tied to those purchases. So it's really to provide the granular detail after the purchases are made.
I'd like to be part of that committee.
Sure. Anybody else?
I would like to be part of it as well.
There's 2. I wouldn't mind being part of that too, so I'll be the 3rd. Mary, would you like to head that up?
Okay.
Thank you. I didn't want to throw Brian to the wolves yet, so. All right, so the next one is, we had some discussion around representatives for the comprehensive plan, and I think Dr. Speaker Polubinski has found some deeper research to find we don't necessarily need board members on both of these positions, but you can elaborate.
Certainly. Our comprehensive plan is up for renewal, and we'll be working on separate parts of the plan. The first portion of the plan that is due is the special education plan, and following that is the professional education plan, the safe schools plan, and it's the large plan is comprehensive plan, and under that are small subparts. Being that the special education plan is the first plan that is up, we the obligation of the plan process is that the board approves the members of the team. But we don't need a representative on the team. The obligation of the Comprehensive Planning Committee would be to come back and share with the board as a whole those decisions that are made and submit the plan to the board. However, in the area of special education, 2.5 years ago, under the direction of Dr. Joanna Wexler, the Special Education Parent Advisory Council was started. And that committee or council meets 1 time per month. And it really is, has become more of a pupil services or a specialized education parent advisory council. So it will include special education, gifted education, and all those specialized components. A board member has sat on that committee. That was Pat Gillespie. She was a representative of the board on that committee. And I believe the power of that connection was immense. To have a parent, to have a board member have an opportunity to be in those meetings and actually hear from parents and hear from district personnel how we're really trying to maximize the benefit for students that require specialized services. So in lieu of having a board member on the comprehensive plan, I believe we would fit that bill if we had a board member take Pat's place on the special education or now specialized education parent advisory committee. Those meetings are once a month during the school year.
Time do they meet?
Currently, I believe the meetings are at 7 o'clock, 1 time a month, and they are typically, PM. Yes, they're PM, and they're attended by parents, and they're typically topic specific. So a needs assessment is done and what parents feel is needed. The pupil services staff, the student services staff has been amazing. Gifted educators, special educators, our supervisors, Dr. Wexler, a lot of great topics have been addressed. And they typically are about approximately 1 hour in length. So from 7:30 to 8:30 or 7 to 8 o'clock. That's how they've been, and that was in concert with Pat's schedule. They can certainly be adjusted based upon the parents that come to those meetings.
Dave, I can sit on that.
Thank
right.
you.
All right, a couple more quick appointments, hopefully. The Chester County School Authority is made up of a board member or a community representative to sit on the authority. The authority is basically acts as the facilities board for the Chester County Intermediate Unit. Carol Pamaccio, who used to be on the board, had expressed an interest in continuing to be that representative. Does anybody have any objection to that?
She did a fantastic job.
Yeah. All right, I'll let her know that she can be the community representative. All right, the CCIU rep position is, we as a board, or we as a school district have 1 board member who sits on the Chester County IU board, along with all the other boards or school districts in the county. So we needed somebody who's willing to, so this one's probably the most time consuming because it is 1 night a month all year long, just like our board meeting, so.
Well, being since this position is this board member actually sits on that IU board as they're building their budget, which all districts in Chester County contribute to. And in the past, I think we've missed some things because we've not gotten started with our personal review of what's been rolling out. I would very much like to sit on that, to be the CCIU rep. I do understand the budgeting, I understand how they do it, and I think I can be valuable bringing back that information to us timely so that we can take a look at it and make decisions as to where we feel they're going in enough time to maybe affect some kind of a change going forward. Our costs are always going up with the CCIU, And it's just something I think we need to really keep a close eye on.
Anybody else? It's yours.
Thank you, actually.
We look forward to you bringing some energy to that board. All right, the next position is the PSBA liaison / legislative representative, and I will not do this justice, so Ellen's been it for the last few years, so if you could describe it, Ellen, and hopefully.
Every committee on this board is important. I consider personally the legislative efforts that we as Great Valley have led this county in over the last few years to be a jewel in our crown. In light of where we are legislatively, especially with the new tax bill on the table, there will be a lot of things that are going to negatively impact public education, not just for Great Valley, but for everyone in the nation. So what we are able to do legislatively is partially because of who we are, and also because of relationships that many of us have made. And I find that with the legislators, that's almost more valuable. I've done this for so many years because I have a lot of those contacts, and I think that served our district well, as it served me personally well. But I'm taking on the vice president role, which will be assisting the president, and the CCIU rep, in order to be effective, is huge. So what I'd like to do, being since it is more about relationships, is whoever would take these two, PSBA liaison is really not a big deal. PSBA is great. They let us know what they're lobbying for or against, why, and then we read it, understand it, and then give an overview to our colleagues as to what it all means. With the legislative representative, you've heard me, I think all of you, since you've been running, come in and say, okay, such and such a bill's on the table, it's time that we need to heighten the awareness in the county, and we'll do a corporate resolution, or we'll send a letter, or we'll ask our constituents to write letters. It is valuable, and we have really become a district that's looked up to in this county, and I don't want to lose that. So what I'd like to do is not give it up 100% in the beginning, but take someone and have them be attached to my hip so that I can open those doors with our legislators, so that I can make that contact for people, so that even when John Smith from Great Valley calls, those calls are being taken. It doesn't have to be Ellen Burrow. I'd like to set it up in a way where someone else has the same ability to get them to listen as I've been able to. So I truly believe the perfect storm is coming, and we all know that. And this is very important. So if somebody could, it's a one-man job. If somebody could jump in there, I would be grateful. Anybody have any thoughts?
Ellen, I'm happy to.
You're on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. All right. NSBA rep, I know,
Can we decide that when we, right before somebody
yeah,
go to the national meeting?
yeah, we can do that then. It's a representative to the National School Board Association, and it's a position that if anybody goes to the actual National School Board conference, they represent us, and there's some things they get to vote on as our representative. So once we determine who's going, we'll figure out who to appoint for that position. The Great Valley Foundation rep. So Great Valley Foundation raises money for the school district and different grants that they provide, or via grants. This would just be the conduit between the school board and the foundation. They meet approximately once a month during the school year. So anybody interested in that position?
I'm interested.
You're interested? All right, everybody. All right.
Let me just mention, those meetings are 7:30 a.m., third Wednesday of the month, and it's the best thing you can do. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. All right, and the last one is the parent key communicator representative. This one is 3 representatives from each of the buildings. Get parents that are chosen by the building. They get together about every 6 weeks. It's coordinated by Jennifer Blake. And they just talk about what's going on, what they're hearing, what the rumors are, any questions, send in topics. It's actually a kind of a conduit for the school to push out to the parents, because these representatives from each of the buildings tend to be the overactive parents in the schools. They're on the PTOs, they're at the bus stops, et cetera, so they kind of have a pulse of what's going on. So is anybody interested in this role?
I'm interested in that role.
All right, no problem. All right, that's all the appointments for this evening.
Do you have to circle back?
Oh, circle back, oh, yeah.
These aren't full votes.
Just policies.
Policy.
Wait, are there 2 members on the, are there 3 members on the IT or 2?
3. Mary, Brian, and I. All right,
I'm happy to stay on policy,
done.
but if you're not staying on policy, then do we need one more, or are we good?
We do need another one. Anybody else interested in policy?
Let's fill it in.
I've got way too much on my plate, but I have to say, it truly is a worthwhile couple hours a month to go over these policies. It'll make the learning curve for any new board member a lot shorter, just saying.
Uh-oh, Samantha's turning the light on.
I'll volunteer. Somebody else wants to do it, yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, any of these are, if it can't work out, we can rethink some of them too, as you get into it, so time-wise or just not your passion, that's okay too. All right, so I think that's all of them. Thank you for reminding me to circle back there. All right, moving onward. All right, real quick, the board met in executive session, or excuse me, will meet in executive session afterwards to just review some personnel and legal issues, and we will be meeting on December 12th for some personnel issues. Secretary's correspondence.
Just a couple things. I was going to talk a little bit about the holiday food drive our food service department does. I think the superintendent's going to talk about that in her report, so I won't say too much. There's a food list there if you want to bring in and drop off in the food service department. Anything that is in there, it's basically food for some of our children, basically, to have breakfast and lunch on their own over the holiday break. The holdover board met at 6 o'clock tonight to go over the audit report from 2016, 2017. That will be on later in the agenda for just acceptance of the report. Again, you don't actually approve an audit report, you just kind of accept it. And I also note that our annual financial report was completed and submitted to the state on November 30th, and as soon as we physically get time, we will upload that into our website with the other financial reports.
All right, thank you. Superintendent's report.
As we have talked each month for the last about year and a half, we started a Customer Service Excellence Award where folks within the district are nominated for showing stellar qualities that all have to do with patriot pride. And it has been amazing reading and looking at the comments and the nominations for staff across the district. So each of the buildings each month, and I have to thank Dr. Gaffredo, goes out to the buildings, empties the boxes, sorts the cards, and very, without fanfare or without any kind of anonymously selects cards so that we have district representation. So I just wanted to share with you, as you can see from Charlestown Elementary School, award recipients Tina Akers, Jennifer Matuza, Nancy Aker, and Jennifer Towie. And you'll notice for each of, there's a wide range of positions that folks are recognized for, and it really is touching when you read the cards. And we go to the buildings, and during a faculty, all the faculty come together and staff, and Dan will read the cards, and it really is touching, especially when you read some parent cards or some colleague cards that really just point out how people go above and beyond for each other and for our students in the community. In General Wayne, Eileen Ent, Laura McGrath, Diane Ament, and Ebony Parler. Again, multiple representations. Katie Markley, Meg Gregory, Andrew Schreiber, Kristen Joyce, and Barb O'Donnell. Sugartown, Sally Bovell, Kenya Walker, Teki Myers, and Kate Vigers. At the middle school, Heather McGovern, Ann Search, Jack Peebles, Kim Simon. And at the high school, coming soon, because we will be there, presenting awards on Wednesday to the high school staff. District office, Eric Bowers, Dr. Gaffredo, Connie Ingersoll, Cheryl Worley, Megan Regan-Bosquell, and Karen Campbell. And again, seeing the multiple representations and the reason folks are selected, it is really a point of pride for our district, and it's wonderful to go to the buildings, read the cards, and just take a moment to just enjoy one another's company and say thank you. Many people are deserving of cards, and sometimes we have to just, because not all cards, not all nominations are represented here, as at the end of the year, you'll see all the nominations, which Dr. Gaffredo's getting a bad back carrying all those cards from one building to another. So more to come on that.
I have a quick question on this. So these nominations come from staff, or are they from whoever?
Nominations, and I'm so glad you asked this, Mr. Barrett. In every one of our buildings, there is a black box by the front entrance, and the black box has a card on the front as an example, and in the side pocket, blank cards, where any member of the community, of the staff, parents, administrators can take cards and fill them out. And what it is, it's just acknowledging those times when you've received great customer service and you want to just say, wow. Oftentimes we hear when things are not as positive as people would like them to be. And what we've found is there are many, many instances where it's nice to say, you know what, somebody took the time to do something above and beyond. So anyone can make a nomination. If anyone that's watching or listening does not have access to the building, please feel free to email. We will be more than happy to send cards to you if you've had a positive customer service experience that you'd like Dr. Gaffredo to include into the drawing or the nomination pool. So thank you. Our high school students, and this was truly amazing, we had 20 of our high school students were selected for 24 spots countywide, which is amazing. So we will be very, very well represented in the PMEA District 12 choir, band, and orchestra ensembles. It was really wonderful last Thursday evening if you were at the celebration or instrumental concert at the high school, and it was wonderful to see all the students. Many amazing things are happening in our music department, and it truly is wonderful. The students will participate in these festivals, and some of the students will be able to go on for additional awards, which I'm sure Mrs. Armstrong can give us much more information about that. Also this past weekend, Malvern, Victorian Christmas, and again, our students were very, very well represented. Elementary students, middle school students, and high school students, and happily, it was not as cold as last year. So the students were not needing to be as bundled up as they were last year, but what a great opportunity for our students to showcase their talent and enjoy a wonderful Christmas celebration. Letters to the Troops. The elementary students participated in the Letters to the Troops program sponsored by Pet Value. And the local Pet Value store in Malvern provided blank letters. Our students colored the templates and wrote brief messages to the troops, It was a happy holiday and a thank you for their service to our country card. And it truly was a wonderful way for our students to take a moment and reflect on gratitude and appreciation. So I'm sure those cards will be very cherished as they're delivered to our troops. Authors visiting our elementary schools, we have had multiple authors at our elementary schools, most recently a 3-time Caldecott Medal winner, David Weisner, was at our elementary schools. And what was really interesting, he not only shared his work, but he shared his motivations and those things that inspired him to become an author through illustrations and storytelling. And you can see our students in the spark that they can look at an author and think, one day I may be visiting an elementary school and I too may be an author or an illustrator. It's interesting to talk to the students afterwards and hear them say, do you know, I am an artist. So many of our students, their interest was piqued by that visit. Helping those in need, as Mr. Linderman had shared, we have the Great Valley Food Service Department Food Drive, accepting donations from December 15th at any of our schools or the district office. And this truly is amazing. I know last year, under the direction of Nicole Melia, and this boardroom is used as central repository, and to see students helping pack up and working with the food service as well as administrators and teachers, preparing food for those that are in need during the holiday season, it truly warms your heart to know that every contribution gives back and helps those in need. So anything anyone can do to help support that food drive. Also, the Adopt a Family program and Mrs. Blake's department works very hard with our partners, with the Covenant Presbyterian Church, Paoli Presbyterian Church, and Great Valley Presbyterian Church to provide holiday meals and gifts to families. This truly is a very large undertaking, and I know over the last years, the need in our area has grown exponentially. And I know the churches sometimes really struggle. The number of families who request help continues to increase every year. This year, we have 123 families for need of Thanksgiving. 152 families requested assistance in the form of gifts and/or food baskets for Christmas. And it's amazing the community volunteers and donations that come together to help those families. And I know that Jen, it really warms her heart, and Karen Campbell, who works with Jen in her office, to make those donations and to coordinate those efforts. Also tomorrow, we have Wednesday, we have, and it's not up here as a holiday concert, but it is truly, and it's on our next slide, but I want to give it special attention for our high school Desmond Senior Citizen Holiday Luncheon. So for anyone who did not receive their personal invitation, Dr. O'Toole and I were at a meeting earlier and we had heard about the senior prom and the potential of students wanting to bring that back. This is another opportunity for seniors to come back to the high school for a holiday luncheon, and that is on Wednesday of this week. But I apologize, Mr. Linderman, thank you. Our upcoming holiday concerts, and if you would like to have unbelievably amazing entertainment for the mere price of your travel, please attend our holiday concerts. December 5th, tomorrow, the 5th grade concert at Katie Markley. December 7th, General Wayne 5th grade concert, 9:15 a.m. and 7 p.m. December 12th, Charlestown 5th grade concert at 7 p.m. December 13th, the District Elementary Band and Orchestra concert at General Wayne. It's at 9:30 a.m. and 7 p.m. December 14th is the high school winter concert at 7:30 p.m. And December 19th, the middle school winter choral concert at 7 p.m. And again, if you want to get yourself into the Christmas spirit, there's no better way to do it than to watch our amazing children take you into the holidays with flair. Additional upcoming events, tomorrow evening we have our High School National Honor Society induction at the high school at 7:30 p.m. December 6th on Wednesday, we have the Desmond Senior Citizen Holiday Luncheon. December 25th through January 1st, school is closed for our winter recess. January 2nd, classes resume, which I know Mr. Beauclair is very excited to start the second half of his senior slide on January 2nd. January 11th and 12th is the middle school musical at General Wayne, and this is a little different time of year. They've traditionally done it in the fall, so to have a great way to kick off the new year with the middle school musical. January 12th, there is no school for students. That's a teacher in service. January 13th is the middle school musical at General Wayne, 3 o'clock and 8 p.m. And on January 15th, school is closed for Martin Luther King's birthday. So a lot of wonderful things happening.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
And the senior luncheon Wednesday is open to all board members. Welcome to attend, even if you're not a senior. All right. Well, she took some of your thunder away. But what else is going on at the high school, Mr. Beauclair?
I'll be reiterating a couple of things, but going on at the high school currently is everyone is getting excited for our annual door decorating contest. This year, we broke everything off into different wings. So we have multiple homerooms that are winning this award. So basically, the homeroom that has the most festive, in addition to some teachers that love to go all out. I'm helping decorate just a couple because it's a ton of fun. We also talked about we're collecting, student council officers are collecting money for our food drive. So a couple of the officers are going out with little buckets asking students if they'd like to make a small donation to help out with the food drive. Also, we are preparing for our blood drive, which is January 11th. Signups are starting on the 18th. So everyone's getting ready for that. Also, in regards to the door decorating contests, students inside and outside of student council have addressed concerns to me personally about the food policy and awarding prizes to the winners of the door decorating contest. In previous years, the winning homeroom was given a box of munchkins from Dunkin' Donuts. However, due to the new rules, student council is no longer allowed to bring that food in. Students at Great Valley feel that they are old enough and mature enough to eat food responsibly in relation to the award, especially for this food item, and they feel that the prize should still be there. That's just, students have reached out to me personally, and some teachers have talked to me about it. Also, the high school choir concert is December 14th. If you guys saw us perform once at Malvern Victorian Christmas, we had a ton of fun, and we have all ensembles from concert choir to our chorale to our chamber singers all performing on the 14th of December, and I would highly recommend you guys all come. We've been singing holiday music for the past 4 months, and we're still singing it, so I think you guys should all come enjoy it as well. Thank you.
You're not in it or anything, are you?
I am in fact in it.
I know he is. Good for you. Exactly. Sounded like a inside message there. Thursday? Wednesday? Thursday the 14th? All right. Thank you. All right, at this point, I will open up the podium for any public participation on any of the voting agenda items that are listed. Anybody has a comment, please come to the podium, state your name and residency. All right.
You take questions?
Nope.
You take a statement if you want to articulate it in that way.
Yeah.
Jeff McFall. I'm in East Whiteland. I guess I heard something the superintendent said, and this is my first time attending a school board meeting. I came to see the new members sworn in. So something struck me in the superintendent's statement about families in need, and I guess since I can't ask a question, I would just be curious for our community to know how many more people are requesting need for things like Thanksgiving and Christmas presents to give to their kids. How many more are we doing than a few years ago, and how many families are not coming forward due to feeling that they may be stigmatized or what have you? So anyways, I can't ask a question, but I thought that might be something that we as a community need to continue to think about, are those that are in need. So thank you.
Yep, thank you. And ours is open to anybody. We don't try to funnel or discriminate against anybody, so. And thank you for your comments. All right, any others? All right, so, seeing none, we'll move on to voting. So first thing up is consent agenda items 8.01 and 8.02. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Motion second. Any questions on these? And please, if you new board members have any questions, slow us down. These are the minutes and the invoices from the previous meetings and the previous month. All right, all right, no questions or comments? All those in favor? Motion passes 9-0. All right, next up, let's see, I guess we can take these all together. 9.01 to 9.03, do I have a motion for?
So move. Second.
Motion second. Chuck, can you explain 9.01 to everyone?
Well, since we don't have another voting meeting until January 16th, this gives the superintendent and myself the ability to keep the lights on for you till next month.
All right, and 902 is just the acceptance of the financial report, which was presented to us earlier this evening, and then the monthly reports are there. So any other questions or comments around them? All right, all those in favor? Motion passes 9-0. Personnel approvals, those are all listed for anything relating for your new board members, for anything to do with personnel. If you haven't looked at these, resignations, appointments, sick leaves, et cetera, extra pay, or whatever.
Motion to approve 10.01?
Second.
Motion second. Any questions? All those in favor? Motion passes 9-0. Thank you. All right, policies for second reading and adoption. They're all listed and many of them. So motion for acceptance of all the policies in 1101.
Motion to approve 11.01?
Second.
Motion second. Any questions on any of these policies? All those in favor? Motion passes 9-0. Thank you. All right, next up is the approval of board meetings for 2018 and, oops. Nope. That's where I'm at. 1201, approval of board meetings of 2018 through 2019 and approval of a non-resident student under our policy. So do I have a motion for?
Approve 12.01 and 12.02.
Second.
Motion and second. Any questions or comments?
If the date of the committees are going to change, we'll need to know that before Mrs. White and I advertise them, because it's one big ad that's pretty costly. So we'll need to know that pretty quick.
Okay. We'll have the committees get together and review, and then we'll figure out what time works too. All right. So we have a motion and a second. Any questions? All right, all those in favor? Motion passes 9-0. That's all the voting items on the agenda. I will now open up the microphone for any additional public comments on any subjects. All right, seeing none. Any other board comments?
I just want to say I brought this up in the spring, and since this is our organizational meeting, I'd like to bring it up again tonight, that I really think that at some point, I think it's valuable, and however you want to do this, if you wanted policy committee to try to start on this, or if there's another committee or place that it deserves to start, it doesn't matter to me, but I really think that at some point we need to have expectations of what different roles for, like, what is the expectation for chairs of committees, what's the expectation for the executive committees. I just think that this is really, what are our expectations to each other? I really think that setting that out would be very helpful.
Well, I think what we should do first probably is just check like PSBA and all their paperwork. I think we got a brochure tonight, or more than a brochure, a booklet in our paperwork, and the new board members will get it after the meeting. So we can look at that and see what's in there and then go from there. Probably the best thing rather than reinventing the wheel. But there's nothing wrong with that. So we all understand our roles as a board member, director, school director, and also as any chairperson or president or vice president or whatever seat we sit in. So that's
Dave, I'd like to take that a step further. That would be the higher content. But I think as it relates to our committees are actually committees, working committees of our board, and I think that it would be helpful to have a white sheet on every committee, not to tie us in specifically, but a white sheet that says, this is the committee, right now, this is, what it exists for. As a committee member, this would be your obligation, and if we had that generated for each committee, it's so much easier. I think what PSBA does a great job with is, I don't think has anything to do with the nuts and bolts of our organization. So I think, and that's something that we've never had, and we've had that issue with the policy committee. For instance, when you sanctioned the policy committee, it was for a specific reason. And we were all notified, okay, this is what the policy committee is going to do. Well, then the definition of that committee changed, but we were not notified again that, okay, the policy committee is also going to blah, 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 blah. So I think that if we had a sheet for each policy, for each committee, as you sanction them, I think that would actually be helpful. So maybe if we could ask the committee chairs of the standing committees now to just do that, like a 2-paragraph thing, and send them to the superintendent, we might be able to just come up with a sheet on each committee so that then everybody has expectations and what their actual commitment means. I think it might be helpful.
Yeah, I don't think that's a problem. I mean, luckily, Dr. Speaker Paul Levinsky did most of the sheet that I sent out.
Yep.
So it's a good start, and maybe we can just elaborate on that. It'll just help other boards down the road too, potentially, as they define
Absolutely.
committees or not, so
It was great what you said.
it's easy enough.
But I really do think it's good too for us to set expectations for each other as far as communicating with each other and calling back and communicating with different community people. Like, there are a lot of pieces to that. And I think that right now it's very informally done, and I think it would be helpful for us all to have an understanding of what that means.
And so how would you like that defined or taken on as a task?
Ellen, if you have a vision, do you want to make an example of what you think it should look like and email it to Dave, just so that we're not...
For instance, we've never done it to this depth, and I think that it's actually come back to bite us from time to time. So for instance, let's say the office of the vice president. So every year we elect a vice president. It would really be helpful as to who should I vote for president if we actually had something written down that the job of the president is or the job of the vice president is to assist the president. In other words, vice president exists for the pleasure of the president. Assist the president with whatever tasks he wants. Attend attend the executive committee meetings to establish I don't actually really know all what the job does, but something like that would put that out so that the next year, when we have to make a decision as to who we're going to vote for, we actually know what that job actually entails.
But a lot of that's spelled out by school code, school code, and it's also in the PSBA booklet, and it's in our policies, so.
But that's very cumbersome, to have that on one sheet of paper as to how does this board...
Well, if you'd like to put the document together.
I don't have a problem.
Fine.
And would you allow me to reach out to the committee chairs to get what I need to actually build them? And I'm happy to take it on, then I'll send them to Regina and you at the same time to look at?
Well, I'd let the committee chairmen put together whatever they think is
Yes.
needed for their committees. And if you want to facilitate gathering them together and then defining whatever else you want, that's fine, and then you can send it.
I'll send it to you first, you look at it, and then you can send it on or whatever you
That's
want.
fine.
Okay, thank you.
Any other board comments? Oh, Chuck will shut you off. All right, If that's the case, then motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Anybody opposed? Thank you very much. Thanks for coming, everyone, and welcome to the new members.